All right, welcome back. Real quick before I lose my train of thought, I want to say up front to the dog lovers, I want it to be serious. The plan was to make a serious live stream, to take this thing seriously and to be a mature adult about everything. But I can't. And this will be sort of a troll video. I'll tell you up front, I'm trolling the dog world here a little bit, but I'm still telling the truth, using facts and information, irrefutable facts and information, but I will be very much trolling the dog culture, the entire dog culture, dog lover world. And I'm going to focus on the Oklahoma Animal Welfare Shelter. You see the thumbnail to this live stream. And I invited some people to this live stream. So I'll get right to it. Around 4 months ago, this surfaced 4 months ago. They had a problem with dogs at this shelter. Okay, I will get to their tradition, their ritual of trying to beautify dogs towards the end of the live stream. Okay, and I think it's a tradition, it's a ritual, and it's exclusive to dogs. They don't try to beautify any other so-called animals because you don't need to. You only need to do that with dogs, and that's our natural response to something that's unnatural. As crazy as dog lovers may be, they're still humans, and they still display like natural responses to things. That's their response to how unnatural dogs look. Clearly. Now check this out. As always, this shelter was overcrowded with dogs. Listen, dogs are a universal problem. There are many things in society that everybody that's involved in it needs to stop. Nobody needs to be involved. There are several things that nobody should be involved in society. This is one of them. Being a flipping dog owner, especially an owner of these large breeds. Nobody should do it. It should not be a part of our culture at all. They should not exist. And that's the humane thing. That's the humane thing. It's inhumane to keep these severely deformed, endless number of deformities, things. Many of them suffer all throughout life, and you force them to copulate, have to force them because they can't do it naturally on it. Keeping them on this planet is inhumane. Not the idea of removing them from this planet. Y'all never, ever, ever going to successfully project me as no evil person. You can try all you want. You can try all you want. The facts are facts, and they speak for themselves.
A desperate plea from the Oklahoma City Animal Shelter this morning. They are severely overcrowded.
Officials are calling this a real emergency. The shelter has 500 dogs, and they're asking you to do whatever you can to keep canines out of the shelter, whether it's through adoption or fostering. Officials warn they may have to
keep them out of the shelter by putting them in your house. I don't think so. No, thank you. No, thank you, buddy.
Officials warn they may have to put some dogs down because of the lack of space.
Hey, I don't have nothing to do with that. That don't have nothing to do with me. Why are you telling me that? Okay? I didn't ask for that information. You do whatever you got to do. Ain't no dogs in my house. I'm not worried about what you're doing with them. You see what I'm saying? Don't try to guilt shame me for not having a dog in my home. This works on some people. I don't understand how. It's such a obvious con. Such an obvious con. Nobody should fall for stuff like this. If these things are so lovable, why do you need to always put flowers on them? Bow ties on them? Why do you always need to sort of put something on them? And then maybe even give them a background and all kinds of filters? Why the need for all of that? And why is it exclusively for dogs? You don't do that with other animals. I have a right to ask, what is going on here? Now, this is also wait a minute, a year ago. This was a year ago. When I just played, it's 4 months ago. So this is constantly at the Oklahoma City welfare shelter. Constantly overcrowded with dogs.
Situation. This morning we had 413 dogs. It's literally life or death when we hit that 400 number.
Now, how are they always, and this is all shelters, overflowing with dogs, mainly pit bulls, and at the same time, there are more homes in this country with dogs than cats? How is that even possible if they're so lovable? They shouldn't be flooding the shelters like this. Everybody should want one. There's plenty of room for everybody to have them. What's the problem here? And why do so many dog lovers dislike the bully breeds so much? What's going on? It's only 6% of the dog population. Okay, we're not supposed to draw any conclusions based on these statistics? Really?
That's when it becomes critical, and frankly, animals are euthanized just because
whoa. Again, that don't have nothing to do with me. And I didn't ask for that information. That's just how it is. You know? You telling me, that's a violation towards me. Okay, that's serious information, personal information. That's like medical information. Now, I'm just not privy to info like that. Don't volunteer information like that. You're just trying to guilt shame the public. Don't do that. Don't do that. That ain't got nothing to do with us. You bring these things into society and then they start injuring and attacking other people. And that's why you got to beautify them so much. Okay, this tradition, this crazy tradition, it's a cult-like tradition of trying to beautify dogs is directly related to the fact that only dogs attack people the way that they do. Irrefutable. No animal in society attacks people like dogs. None. The frequency, the severity, the fatalities, everything. That's your natural response to that. Oh, let's put some flowers on it. The despicable killer, the inhumane, soulless, brainless killer. You can raise it with hugs and kisses. It may snap someday, and we all know it. You all know it. And you just think it's fun and living life on the edge, taking the risk. Oh, look at me. Get you some likes and views on social media. You just goofy and lame and squares all get up. Ain't got no real character and dignity, respect for your neighbors, the youth. Just out here, just willy-nilly crazy. You have to be out of your mind. You're not in your right state of mind. Endangering people like that. And it's primarily your family. Remember, most dog attacks are inside the home. It's primarily your family. Plumb out of your mind. You can't compare these injuries with nothing else going on in society. You can't tell me this is not a real issue in society. When no other injury is as frequent or as deadly. Stop it.
I don't have space for
them. Now, okay, again, this was a year ago.
What's coming in?
Oklahoma City Animal Welfare Superintendent John Gary and his staff are facing an impossible situation. Their facility is...
No. See, that doesn't work. She holding a puppy up as if to say, hey, look how cute it is. Ma'am, and I'm not, I'm trying to be serious. Let me try to be serious. Ma'am, that doesn't work. That still looks inhumane. I see a creature that's not supposed to be here, that has several deformities, and they all are like this. There's something going on with a hip dysplasia, knee popping out, all kind of crazy stuff, the saggy infections, you gotta shoot them up, drug them up just to keep, and look at how they infect us with, no, this is terrible and inhumane. And look at how toxic they are for us. How much they contaminate things that we need for daily life. I mean, just water and air, we could just stop there. And that's enough. No, this is not something of high morals. Keeping these things that are suffering their whole life, and they're also punishing us in the worst way imaginable. No, this is not a positive thing. It's not always a positive thing to treat every living thing as if it's supposed to be treated like our family member. You know, we're supposed to have limits as rational thinking people. That's what's supposed to make us humane, is that we have discipline. We have a knowledge and understanding of diseases and infections and whatnot. And we have enough respect for nature to understand that something that is not only naturally deformed and carries several deformities, and many of them suffer their whole life, is immoral to keep them type of creatures on the planet. But if there are also launching as many attacks on as many people on a daily basis, and primarily kids under 13 and under, to keep them in existence, that is crazy. Yeah, you have to admit that. You got to admit that. Trolling you and all. You got to admit that. So there's nothing positive about this. Trying to be serious now. There are a lot of people who seriously got a problem. Oh, IHD, you're such a horrible person. Now listen to this. Oh, listen, they have a whopper of information to tell you.
Staff are facing an impossible situation. Their facility is currently at 131% capacity, taking in 114 animals Thursday alone.
Animals meaning dogs. That's probably all the cats they got. 3 cats. I'm dead serious. They'll show the cats. They'll include cats. Just project the idea. Oh, it's about all animals. No, this is a dog thing.
No matter what they do, space is getting harder to find.
Why is it so much easier to keep cats out of the shelters? They really don't seem to ever have a problem getting rid of cats and having people keep cats.
Right.
But anytime an animal has to die just because we don't have space to keep it, it's a very difficult thing.
Gary wants the public to know that if they find an animal...
What's difficult when those same animals behave like this? Just mad because you're there. You know, there's launching threats because you're just there. You're the one providing food and water for it, keeping it alive. You're just standing there with a camera, and they're just launching threats. Okay. I don't see anything humane about that. And with the track record, look, their records speak for themselves. I don't have to give no speech here. That's ridiculous.
Space to keep it, it's a very difficult thing.
Gary wants the public to know that if they find an animal, animal welfare shouldn't always be the first option.
Only about 20.
You hear that? If you find a stray dog, bringing it to the shelter shouldn't always be a first option. Okay, what other option is it?
20% of dogs that come in here, and only about 1% of the cats get reclaimed by their owners.
He says that's why the first place you should head is online.
Check the social media sites, do the Nextdoor apps, all of those things where people might be posting for lost pets.
You can also take the pet to a vet to check for a microchip. Additionally, Animal Welfare's website...
What? Take it to a vet? So just take a stray pit bull home.
Site is up.
Why would you suggest that to the general public? Why would anybody? Wow. Okay.
Dated about once an hour. So that's a good place to look for your pet if you can't make it in person. Because for many,
No, stop with this pet, your pet. No, these are not parrots. These are not gerbils. Okay? These are killers that are killing, mutilating. Okay? And there's no real use for them. Not even for as a service dog. They got too many devices out now. Just do your searches. No matter what you need, it's out there. There's a device that's more efficient than a big dumb dog that requires so much in return for less work, less efficient work.
it can be a drive. The shelter is located on the outskirts of OKC.
Again, these are threats. This is what they do before they attack. That's in meantime, they don't even do this before they attack. You don't know what they're gonna do. And that's the case for all of the dog lovers in the world. And you all know it. You can talk all you want about how well you think you know your dog's brain, or how much control you got over your dog's brain. You know that's all talk. That's all lip service. That thing could snap. It don't matter if you raised it from a puppy. It could snap on you or anybody in the home. And you know, and it happens all the time. Every single day. Okay? It's far too proven of a safety hazard for it not to be a violation of the reckless endangerment laws. That's the craziest thing about this dog culture. So it's too apparent that these things are abnormal. These are not God's creatures. Okay? Like I said, God's synonymous with nature. Nature kills them. Many of these dogs that you find out in the forest starving to death, nobody deliberately starved them. They ran away and they couldn't live in nature, so they died. They laid down, curled up in a ball, and died. They escape all the time. We know it. We can't just assume every single dog you find somewhere was deliberately dumped there by some mysterious person who dumped them deliberately just to starve them to death. That don't even make sense. If people want to inflict harm on a dog, that's not something they would do. They would strike it or shoot it or something. Okay, let's stop with this. Stop being silly.
Because for many, it can be a drive. The shelter is located on the outskirts of OKC, a city that already covers a lot of ground.
People that lose pets way up northwest or even far southwest, they don't realize that their animal, if it gets picked up by either an animal control officer or someone, a citizen in the public, that it's going to be 30 minutes away from where they live.
It's a big community with many lives depending on its support right now.
Look at the malice. Look at the rage. Look at the rage here. Why? Like, how's that appealing for a pet? I mean, is it for protection? Why would you be that desperate for protection when your so-called protection could actually attack you? And you all know it. No matter how good of a trainer you think you all are aware of this. And many of you have been bitten. Many of you trainers have been bitten. Are you that desperate? Are you that scared? In a time like now where you have things like weapons, like the dogs are the most useless right now. They're the most useless right now. And yet we have more of them than ever before. It's not adding up. No, we're reaching a breaking point. Okay, a breaking point And that's why these things flood the shelters the way they do. Primarily bully breeds too, and it's primarily dogs. Right? Listen to this next report. This is really crazy.
Thank you. Well, the Oklahoma
Wait a minute. Maybe it was this one. Listen to this. They had like 200. Yeah, I've said this before. They had like 200 dogs and like 10 cats in the whole shelter, if it was even 10. Like a ridiculous ratio. It's primarily dogs, but they're so loved. And even though they're in more households, they still only make up 60%, 65% of the American households. There's plenty of room for more people to have them. And why is it that the ones that are dog lovers, why are they so against bully breeds? To the point where these shelters are really overflowing with bully breeds. If there is no difference in breed, why is it bully breeds that are discriminated against the most? I have nothing to do with myths. Don't even start with that. Because they literally produce different statistics. Now, moving on. 4 months ago, same shelter. They had to close due to infection. Some of you have been keeping up with this in the news. I've heard people talking about this. Some of you have been keeping up with this in the news. This has been ongoing for a while. This surfaced 4 months ago. They had to close due to infection.
Thank you. Well, the Oklahoma City Animal Shelter is now closed for at least a week. Officials making that announcement last night as they're fighting a spreading sickness.
The closure was forced, they say, because 100 dogs got sick. Austin Brissett joins us now live in studio with more on what this means for the
100 dogs? What about the cats? Always ask that. This ain't no dog shelter, according to you. This is an animal shelter. You got dog and the cat on your logo. Why is it always dogs we hear about getting sick when disease is spreading all throughout the shelter?
animals. Good morning, Austin.
Hey, good morning, guys. They're trying to contain a contagious upper respiratory infection that has spread to 130 dogs.
Upper respiratory, and it's always, that's very common type of infection. And many times, they don't know what it is. Many times, it's an upper respiratory infection. Notice that another mysterious infection is also a respiratory infection.
In just the last 3 days alone, and 3 dogs have died due to that infection as well. Now, due to the spread of that infection and to prevent the deaths of more dogs, they're closing up shop for at least a week.
Still are only talking about dogs. 130 dogs infected, 3 have died. Shelter has 400 plus dogs, 26 capacities. Lost dogs can still be reclaimed when we'll still take sick dogs. Okay.
Week. Shelter supervisor John Gary saying on social media last night that they, quote, want to protect as many animals as we can. The facility says animals that are sick, injured, or pose a threat to the community can still be taken in. And remember, pets that are at the shelter already can be reclaimed by
Only dogs pose a threat to the community. Nobody's afraid of cats. Nobody's afraid of cats. Stop it. Stop with that. These are not animals. Stop it. Okay?
their owners. The shelter has over 400 dogs right now, which is about 26% over their capacity. And yesterday, the shelter had an intake of about 77 animals. Now, if you'd like to help in this situation,
Dogs.
you can donate money, dog and cat food, beds, blankets, toys, puppy pads, leashes, and much, much more. You can also volunteer with the shelter as well. Now, we do expect to learn more on this situation later on this morning, as the shelter is set to have a news conference.
So many bully breeds. Why so many? What? Look. What? You always point.
Our staff veterinarian came in on Monday morning.
You always point the finger at us. Wag the finger at us. You tell me, why do you discriminate against bully breed so much to the dog lovers in the world? Why? Why? Why are you doing this to the bully breeds? Why are you discriminating? They're the ones filling these shelters. You are the ones treating them as if there's something up with their breed. Don't point the finger at us when we also point out the statistics that separates them from other breeds. Okay? Y'all just stop it.
Aaron came in on Monday morning from the
Same shelter. This was 4 months ago as well, after they closed. He's explaining why they closed.
busy weekend and did her normal walkthrough that she does every Monday morning. She became concerned because she's seen a lot more upper respiratory infection than what we normally see. So she came and we talked about it. Initially, we thought it was just the upper respiratory infection that we see in the shelter. So we began a treatment plan. There was about 50 dogs that first day that were impacted. So we began a treatment plan for those dogs and through foster homes and through what we have available here for isolation, we began that process for those. And Tuesday came around and we had another 30-something dogs that we noticed that had been impacted and had broken overnight. So we did become a little bit more concerned, but again, at that point, we still thought we were dealing with.
Look at all the soap. Look at all the soap. You can imagine this is some type of disinfectant. Look at how much you treat these facilities as if whatever you're housing here is extremely nasty. Everything had to be vacated. You up here with the antibacterial sanitizer. He got the spray going.
Or possible just normal upper respiratory infection. Then yesterday we had another 40 dogs that started showing symptoms. And so we knew that we had a
Man, that looks bad. That looks bad. It looks like whatever you have up in there, it shouldn't be up in there. Yeah? Almost like something was rotted up in there. Something decomposed, and they got to sanitize it, cut off this, tape off the area, keep everybody away.
a major concern on our hands, and we really needed to do something about it.
And here they're dealing with infections. They talking about viruses and stuff. These things are nasty, man. It's dangerous to have these things in society, man. What are we doing? This is stupid. It's stupid. It is because they're the vacuum cleaners of society. That's why they're so prone to diseases.
So we have about 130 dogs that have been impacted so far at this point. We have had 4 dogs that have died from it, and then a couple more that we've had to euthanize.
What about no cats? Just no cats, huh? Okay.
Due to the severity of how sick that they were from it. So we made the difficult decision to close. And the point of closing is to try and keep it from getting out in the community and to try and make sure that we can do the best we can for the dogs that are here.
Keep it from getting out in the community. Wow. These things are so disease-ridden. This is ridiculous. Ridiculous, man.
Here in the shelter. And so we began a treatment plan for every dog in the building, whether they're showing symptoms or not. They have started.
Just the outbreak inside of a shelter, a confined space, a controlled environment. How are they just getting mysterious diseases? How are diseases just popping up? I know you're bringing in more dogs, but what are they getting outside? Just making them keel over. This is ridiculous. It's so obvious it's immoral to keep these things in existence. Always getting infected with crazy infections like this. This is ridiculous.
Treatment today, and we're going to continue that. Through the next. It's about a 10-day treatment plan for them, 10 to 14 days for these dogs. We've sent samples off.
All right. Cut that out. You cut that out. Let's move on. I want to get to these bow ties and flowers.
Thank you. Officials with the...
Stop it. Listen, this was 2 months ago. What's going on here? This is 2 months ago.
Oklahoma City Animal Shelter sending out an urgent message this evening. They battled a canine flu outbreak at the shelter. It caused them to shut down for nearly 2 months. Remember that? Officials say now they've taken in hundreds of animals in the past couple of days since they've reopened. On Monday, 143, and yesterday another 126. They say this is not sustainable and they need your help. For now, all dog adoption fees are being waived.
Okay, just talking about dogs. That was 2 months ago. That was 2 months ago. Yeah, this is pretty crazy.
Yeah, Evan and Jess, now you can see here the shelter still closed and their doors are even still locked. They say that you can't bring an animal here because of the ongoing canine flu, but with the 4th of July holiday, there is a chance that there are more stray
Canine flu. 1 month ago. They was closed 1 month ago. Again, after reopening, that other video surfaced 2 months ago. They reopened 2 months ago. And then just a month ago, they're closed again. They just keep having to close down, don't they? This always happens at shelters. Always have to close down because of dogs catching some crazy infection where they just dying. You telling me this is a natural animal? Stop it. You all know it is immoral to keep something like this in existence. Stop it. You know, I feel sorry for anybody who can't understand that, and for you to think that it's immoral for me to say that. You need to stop it.
strays out there, and they want you to know your options in case you see one.
We're just asking the residents to do the best they can.
A plea to the public as shelters across the metro, including OKC Animal Welfare, remain closed. Superintendent of the shelter, John Gary, says fireworks in the 4th can cause dogs to run away, but turning in strays isn't an option.
I know it's a lot to ask of our community to take on the stray dogs that are out and about in the community, but it's essential to save the lives of as many dogs as we possibly can.
Gary says the public...
Y'all remember I shared this before where they asked you to take on the stray dogs. Just take it. Hey, you see a stray dog, just take it inside your home. Yeah, why not? You may have a family. Hey, you might have a family. But if you see a stray dog, stray pit bull even if it's a bully breed, well, especially if it's a bully breed, we don't want you to treat them like they're different from any other breed. So yeah, you see a bully breed, just bring it inside your home. Yeah, that's a smart thing to tell the general public. Okay.
Should search social media, post the dogs online and on the OKC Animal Welfare website, and if possible, provide temporary housing for the dogs so they stay off the streets.
Temporary. You stop it. Stop it. And there are actually people out here who will do this. Believe it or not.
And for at least a few more weeks.
Unfortunately, that is the only option available to our public. I will say if the animal is sick or injured, has some medical need.
The dog, nobody's worried about a cat. Nobody's worried about a cat, man. Cut this out. The animal. No, we're talking about dogs are the problem. They're dysfunctional. They're not normal. We're not worried about other animals like this. Other animals are good to go. They don't even need us. Don't even need us. Okay? We got to really, really trap them. Dogs are the only needy, and they depend on us for their survival. You are wrong to keep something like this in existence. Okay? You have to look at it like this.
We are still accepting those ones in. We don't want an animal out there not getting medical attention that it needs it.
He also says if an animal is aggressive or dangerous, the shelter will try to take them in.
The dog. If we're worried about an animal being aggressive, we're only talking about dogs. Stop that.
We'll try to take them in, and if you're fostering and need help providing food, they have resources. Now with other metro cities fighting canine...
The rage. There you go. And they tell you to watch out for a dog that's barking. Right? Be careful. Don't approach a dog that's barking. With why?
Resources. Now with other metro cities...
This is why they have to put flowers on them. This is why they put flowers on them. Dog lovers, you know it. This is why you put bow ties on them. This is why you do that. And you've made it a ritual because only dogs do this. Only dogs act aggressively towards humans like this. That's why you do that. Don't lie. I'm charging you with that. I'm charging all of you with that. They put ribbons, flowers, bow ties, and all types of little decorations on these mutts. Sometimes put them in a goofy background. I'm charging you all with that. Don't lie.
Fighting canine flu, it'll be a community effort
This
to
is why
keep
you go on and on about how sweet they are. Because you know full well they're the only ones that act like this. Isn't that right? Isn't that right? Don't deny it. If you disagree, go ahead and explain yourself.
animals until they can open.
Unfortunately, due to the volume that each one of us see, none of us are in the position to really take others in from other municipalities. Or, hopefully within the next couple of weeks we'll be able to reopen, and then we'll begin that process to be able to take strays in again. But in the meantime, we're just asking the public to really just do the best that they can.
You do the best that you can. Yeah, a pit bull is roaming the streets. Hey, just do the best that you can. Do the best you can. Hey, if you make it to your car, hey, good for you. If you make it from your car back to your home, good for you. If your family makes it, do what you can. Don't call animal control. We can't put them in the shelter. Okay, what are you left to do? Treat it, pretend that it's harmless, right?
So if you do happen to see a stray, they ask for you to post online, check social media, and if you can, temporarily house the dog.
Oh my goodness. These people are funny. These people are funny, man. You can get a laugh out of these. Really? Stop it.
Now, they say that their goal date to reopen the shelter is July 21st, as long as there are no new cases of canine flu.
Oh, stop. Oh, stop. Stop with that, people. This is ridiculous. Same animal shelter. This is OKC. What is going on here? Wait a minute. This is 12 days ago. They reopened. Okay, reopened after being closed just a month ago. Just a month ago. They were closed. They reopened 12 days ago, people. 12 days. What is this? Listen.
Oklahoma City Animal Shelter, they reopened for adoptions this weekend, and they really need your help. Following a nearly 50-day closure to treat a dog flu outbreak, the shelter is now at 136% capacity. About 200 dogs and 10 cats are available to take home.
What? What did he say? Back that up. What have I been saying? Listen to this.
10 cats are available.
Whoa. Let's back that up. Back that on up.
6% capacity. About 200 dogs and 10 cats.
200 dogs and 10 cats. You heard it yourself.
Are available to take home.
Why are dogs so unwanted when there's so much room for them? What is going on here? They're so lovable. And those of you who are dog lovers, why do you discriminate against bully breed so much? You're going to have to explain that. If you're going to also tell me there's no difference between the breed and, oh, it's the myths. And, oh, no, it's not myths. It's not myths. Stop that. Don't even try that. Not if there's statistics that prove that they are what they are believed to be. Stop it. Okay? Now, this was 12 days ago. They reopened, and they want people to come pick up these worthless mutts. Okay, and endanger yourself and your entire community.
36% capacity. About 200 dogs and 10 cats are available to take home. All have up-to-date vaccinations and have been spayed or neutered. The shelter is waiving.
Okay. Here's some more threats. They're waiving the adoption or the fee.
Adoption fees on.
Okay, the so-called adoption. And there you go. The thing is making more threats. Hideous beasts. Another reason why you put flowers and bonnets and whatnot on these things. And you do that religiously, and you only do it with dogs. And this is a natural reaction to the fact you know full well these are the killers. These are killers. They got the track record to prove it. And you just promote them even more, remove more bans. Stop it.
The shelter is waiving adoption fees on dogs 40 pounds and up. Dog intakes are still
40 pounds and up.
On pause for right now, though.
Also in the
Okay, now look at this. Many of you have seen this. This surfaced Roland Martin. This surfaced 2 days ago. Wait a minute. 2 days ago.
New tonight, an Oklahoma City animal welfare worker is recovering after a dog attack. Police say the worker was taken to a hospital and is expected to be okay. Police say the dog was contained at the shelter.
Oh. Why don't we hear about some cat just ripping people up? This is 2 days ago. Same shelter. Now, these shelters, this happens at shelters all the time. Really on a daily basis. It's ridiculous. Now, I went to their Instagram and I got motivated or inspired to make this live stream. Because when I went to their Instagram at this shelter, I ran into a bunch of dogs with these decorations, these ribbons and bow ties, and they'll have flowers and whatnot. Look at this, where it was like overboard. It's truly overboard. Where it was like blatant, like you gotta put something on these things, you know, to help get them out. And like, why would you do that? Why would you do this? Why would you put something like this on a dog at any moment in time? You don't have to do this to cats. And it's ridiculous. It's pretty ridiculous. Did they do this to help try to adopt them out? Don't lie. Dog lovers, don't lie. You do this to help try to adopt them out. You try to dampen the unsightly appearance of a mutated organism. That's sad. That's very inhumane. That's unethical. Come on. That's unethical. Something that deals with deformities disproportionately. Come on, man. Y'all want to have this discussion? Oh, let's have it. Y'all want to sit down, you want to debate IHD and tell me about myself and how immoral I am. And hey, you got an evil heart, IHD, to wish such a thing on God's creatures. No, these are not God's creatures, and you know it. You know it. That's why you try to decorate these things the way you do. Come on. This is ridiculous. It's like they have to put something on it. They're just grabbing anything at this point. A big sunflower, really? Really? Next to a box of Lucky Charms? Really? Look at this. That's ridiculous. You probably can't even adopt this pig. That's ridiculous. This is a dog shelter. Look, bow ties and suit ties, flowers. This is ridiculous. They do this to try to make these killers with a killer's track record more appealing to people. That's ridiculous. I'm not the immoral one. Don't even try it. Don't even try all the, you're a hateful, evil, savage yourself, IHD. That's what it is. You bad person saying all those things. Poor sweet doggies. God's creatures. Everything living is God's creature. No, that's not true. Many things are driven into extinction. Okay? If you're incompatible with nature, you're driven into extinction. That's just the way it is. These things are just that. Right? You got to force them into existence. And while they're here, you have a huge problem keeping them in people's homes, marketing them. And it's primarily bully breeds. And you resorted to desperately trying to decorate all of them. And we see why. We clearly understand why. Not only how they look, the abnormal appearance of them, which is natural, and it's okay to recognize that they look abnormal. It helps you to understand that they are true-to-life mutants. It helps you to avoid them, to not want to touch them. When you rub on a dog, quite often their skin is wrinkly and slippery. They don't feel pleasant to touch. It's okay to acknowledge that, especially when you're dealing with a proven mutant. It's smart to acknowledge that. There's nothing immoral about that. I have to address this because I even have family members who assume that I'm somehow immoral for my beliefs. No, far from it. The exact opposite is the truth. When you touch these things, their skin is slippery and wrinkly. They don't feel pleasant to touch. And quite often, they're oily, covered with saliva and excrement. Nothing pleasant whatsoever. Saliva splashing. No, that's not natural. Okay? Natural animals are actually not that unpleasant to touch and look at. Stop that. And that's why you go overboard and call them handsome and pretty and whatnot. If that's the case, why you have to always put stuff on them like this? If they're so attractive. Why you exclusively go overboard? Put shirts on them. You don't try to do this with cats. I'm not even sure cats will let you do some crazy stuff like this. They'll probably take it off. You know? You gotta unsuspectingly put stuff on cats. And cats will probably, swap at you. Try to scratch you. You keep trying to put some kind of stupid bonnet or something on them. Big dumb dog just sit there. Put anything you want on them. It's like a big dumb mutant. You all claim these things are so intelligent. Yeah, you can practically do anything to them, especially if you got food. That's the only reason why they're not killing you right now. You notice, and you all know it. And that's the only reason. Because you magically pull out food. And they dominate most of you. They show dominant. Look at all this nonsense. This is ridiculous, man. This is ridiculous. And this is some kind of collar. Ridiculous. Admire the horse. Something that's not going to get filled with, allegedly, according to you, anxiety. And it's partly true. Something ain't going to want to attack you on sight. Admire no mutt. Especially no bully breed that quite often attack horses and other animals. There ain't nothing moral. Nothing moral. And there are more strikes against bully breed lovers. Because bully breeds kill. They got the track record to prove it. Look at that. Look at this. This is ridiculous. Ridiculous, man. And that's pathetic. And that's immoral. With creatures that attack and maim the way that they do, that's immoral. To adore them like this. To praise them like this. To decorate them. This is ridiculous. Like, do you not have that sense of morale? Like, you're not capable of that, dog lovers? Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that you did that deranged. As a basic human, you fully understand that. All of you fully understand that. And you're going to have to break out of this nonsense. That's just the way it is. Y'all out here just crazy, out of your minds, endangering people, families, unsuspected, innocent people who can't defend themselves on a daily basis, can't keep up with these foolish reports. This is crazy. So we got a serious mental problem here. When you have an issue that endangers people's well-being and health, that's one of the mental problems that you talk about all the time. This is a serious problem in this country. It's hard to find, especially as consistent as this problem is. And you do your best to try to decorate these things because they have such a gruesome and inhumane track record. Their attack record is inhumane. Another reason why you always go on about being humane with these things. The Humane Society. We humanely put the dog down. The dog that never kills humanely. Every time they kill, it's torture. Every single time. Why do we owe them a humane death? Why? Why do we talk of what? You don't even have to showcase it. They always showcase it. And they always speak against using a weapon to defend yourself. They never even mention it to you, to use a weapon. Earlier, I tweeted something real crazy. One of the craziest things I ever tweeted was not long ago. Let me see if I can go there. Those who follow me on Twitter, you really have to be careful. A lot of explicit things on Twitter. A whole lot of explicit things on Twitter. But my suspicion, I feel like, was validated with this, and it, I believe, was a serious post. I don't know if it was created recently or what. It was one of the craziest things I've ever seen in my life. And let me show it to you here. It's my Twitter. Follow if you like. That was a crazy thing that happened today. This is what I'm talking about. Look at this. How to survive a dog attack. Is this real? Stay calm. Both fear and aggression will enhance the dog's ferocity. Do not run or make eye contact. Move away slowly or turn peripherally from the dog. If it looks like the dog will attack, put something between you and the animal, dog. A stick, a jacket, anything to protect yourself. Assuming that you have something available to put between you and the dog. What if you don't? Look at how they set this up. Assuming there's anything for you to grab. You may not have anything. You want them to take their shirt off. Number 4, when the dog charges, when the dog charges, use a stick or rocks as weapons. Again, assuming you'll have rocks and a stick available. Aim for the eyes and throat especially. So you try to kill it if you can. If you aim for the eyes and the throat, you're trying to kill it if possible. So the goal at that point is to neutralize it, even if it's by death. So why not tell people to use a gun? It's the law. We have the right by law. Why not advise to the public? That's the most disappointing thing about stuff like this. Why is that not part of the game? So I got to believe this came from dog culture. A lot of this stuff, this type of stuff, most of it comes from dog culture. It says, do not tear limb away. They're telling you to accept this attack, basically. If biting is unavoidable, offering a forearm leaves 3 limbs free to attack the dog and protect your face and stomach. Well, if biting is unavoidable, after the attack, consult a doctor about diseases carried by dogs, including rabies. Notify the police and animal control. Yeah, tell that to people who were mutilated so bad they couldn't move after the attack and or died. Look at how it assumes the whole situation a certain way to fit their narrative, to make it into something they can refer to as justification for dogs to be in society. Hey, look, they should be in society. We offer a way to deal with dog attacks if they happen. But dog attacks in general is just something that people need to accept. That's the idea behind this whole thing. And it's a big con, and people should be dead set against it. That's the smart thing to do. There's no way around that. Shout out to Jerome Davis in the super chat. And people would do ourselves well to adhere to that. That's the smart thing to do. Look, we have to evolve. We're at a low point, a goofy, cringe point in existence in society. And it's one of the dumbest. This is basically telling you to accept an attack. And as always, they never mention any type of weapon, not even spray. And they make dog repellent spray. They make little sound devices. They make many things. They don't advise you to use nothing. The dog culture in general is so primitive and behind and unevolved. It's almost criminal. In this business world or business atmosphere, it's very much criminal and in a show of incompetence on the part of the so-called experts. You really haven't upgraded your material at all. Even the material, the advice is primitive, where it basically tells you, hey, accept the attack. Oh, it's nothing to do. You can't stop it. Don't try to stop it. Now, I tweeted this earlier today. This took place, I think, in India. And this is actually a female. Oh. Let me kill that volume. Now, she is actually attacked. Now, experts, you're telling us this is out of fear? Or does this look like it's targeting what it sees as a weak target? The fact is, the truth is, these things target weak targets. That's why they primarily attack children. Children look like a weaker target. All predators, no matter what type of predator you're talking about, if it has the option, it'll target the weak. It'll target the small. Usually lions target the calves, the small creatures. If they're available, they'll target them. They're easier to catch and they're easier to deal with. But they attack them for food. They actually do consume them. They only target one and they consume it. That's a natural predator's behavior. Dogs kill for sport. They can eat nonstop because they're so full of parasites, and they attack for sport. Irrefutable. There's nothing immoral about being against something like that. Okay? The very worst you could say about me is that I made an argument that you don't like. You can't even call it unreasonable. So just stop it. Any and all attempts is ridiculous. And again, this person in this video became a tree and didn't run and was still attacked. None of the reasons given by the so-called experts work. None of them work. None of them accurately explain dog aggression. The only thing explained dog aggression is blood sport, the thirst, bloodthirst, aggression, just sheer dominance, wanting to dominate and targeting the weak and the small, etc. People are in denial. That's pretty much what it boils down to. People are in denial. Why? I have no idea. Shout out to everybody. Man, I got more topics and things I need to talk about that I can really keep up with. I want to share one more story here before I go. Planned on making this a separate video, but no, I'll just talk about it now. This story here surfaced July 31st. 8-year-old injured after being attacked by cougar. I may have talked about this. Olympic National Park. And this is one of the most ridiculous. I know there are some people who haven't heard about this or read about this. 8-year-old suffered minor injuries, according to this report. They wrote minor injuries. And right away, that grabbed my attention. I'm like, what? Minor injuries. A cougar, a child. The child was camping with his mother. The cougar casually abandoned its attack after being yelled at by the mother. Casually abandoned its attack. Now, do you think that could have been a bully breed? Many other dogs would have continued to attack and would have attacked her too, screaming and all. The screaming probably would have made the attack more violent. That's what dogs do in response to loud noises as they attack. Usually intensifies the attack. They're so unlike natural predators. It's I think it's fascinating. It's fascinating. Casually abandoned its attack. Did it even know that this was a human? Is what I thought. Why would it casually abandon its attack after a scream? And again, they wrote the child experienced minor injuries, taken to the hospital for further evaluation. And they evacuated the area due to the nature of the incident. And they offered some more information. Look at this. On Saturday at 5 a.m. on Saturday, this incident took place Saturday evening. Okay, took place Saturday evening. This is the 31st. This is last Saturday. So at 5 a.m., law enforcement and wildlife personnel specializing in cougar tracking were sent to the animal's last known location, the release added. If they locate the cougar, they'll euthanize it. and perform a necropsy according to the release. That's like a autopsy. And look what they wrote. This may provide clues as to why the animal attacked, since cougars are rarely seen and attacks on humans are extraordinarily rare. So they're saying that the reason possibly for the attack was because they sent trackers in its territory earlier that day, which it may not be used to. Its territory being invaded, and we don't know. It could have cubs. So that may be the reason why. It may be genuinely have been provoked. And even though it may have been provoked, it can be argued that it was provoked. It abandoned its attack in response to yelling. The dog attacks are not like this. No way, no way, no way. Especially if it's so-called provoked. That will be a violent attack. The child will be in critical condition. They will suffer severely bad injuries. That's almost mandatory. And they say it themselves. That's probably why it attacked. Point out that there's about 1,900 to 2,100 adult cougars, blah, blah. But there's always something around it. That seems like the pattern with all these stories that involve a cougar attack on a person. It's either something like this, or it was a dog. The person had a dog with them, and the way the story goes, you can tell the cougar went after the dog. And as always, they'll leap and attack the cougar. They'll attack anything attacking their precious dog. Right? Genuine dog worship. Shout out to everybody. What is today? Saturday. Saturday. I've been asleep for a long time. Hope you all are well rested. I think I'll end this live stream here. How's everybody doing? Right. Said labs are oily. Yeah, it's very consistent how they adorn the dogs, and it's exclusive to the dogs. They really don't try to beautify any other so-called animal at these shelters. It's always dogs, and it's always dogs tearing up somebody, end up attacking somebody that's feeding it, somebody's taking care of it, providing care for it in some way. They're always getting tore up. And they just got tore up at the Oklahoma Animal Shelter. So, hey, it is what it is. As always, nice chopping it up with all of you. And I hope to see you back on the next live stream as we continue with this crusade.